Hello and welcome back to Get a Grip on Rebates. I'm Juan Carlos Blacker. With us, as always, is John Wilson, and we are brought to you by TCP. That is TCPI.com, the craziest people in lighting. Go check them out. See what they're doing. They know a ton about lighting. They know a ton about rebates. John, how you doing today? I hear we got ourselves maybe a special guest.
Man, I tell you what, I don't know if you know the Schoolhouse Rock song, Three's the Magic Number, but I'm feeling really good about the show we're about to do because we do have a special guest, Devin Wall with Louvers International. These guys are a commercial industrial lighting fixture manufacturer. They do lenses, custom plastic work, and I think out of the greater Chicago area. Devin, say hi to the guests. Say hi to everyone who's watching today.
Hello, everybody. It's Devin. Glad to be on the show with you guys. Thank you for inviting me on. And three is actually the magic number. I was born on February 3rd. 3 months after that, my son was born on May 3rd. 3 months after that, my dad was born on August 3rd. So you got that right. And I didn't even tell you this info before you said that.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So Devin, great to have you. Nice to meet you. We have been talking over the last episode and some about this term called trunk slammers, and we wanted to bring you on because I know you have some thoughts on that. Um, tell me what comes to mind when I say the term trunk slammers to you as it pertains to the rebate world more than anything.
Yeah, well, just kind of following up from your guys' last podcast, it's people that really think you're getting the best deal from, and it's like, man, the price is so attractive, but then there's a lot of these behind the scenes factors that people don't think about, factor in, and get out there. So it's really, my belief is just the cheapest way to the end user to get them something that's LED lighting and works, and being able to take advantage of rebates that are out there in the industry.
Cheap sounds good. Why is that a problem?
No, I never associate cheap with any of my prices. I always say less expensive option. When I present and say, and I don't like to say price either, I say the value of my product is. And because they're not just buying the product, they're buying everything behind it, warranty claims. And that's the thing. If someone tells you that their fixture never goes out or never fails, they're definitely lying to you, because there are more factors than not that actually play into failures of fixtures. Typically, it's a driver, but it's how companies handle these warranty processes and go about getting the information. I talked to a customer last week, and the warranty, they shipped the guy just strips of LED modules and said, "Here, change this back out in the fixture." At least they got something, but that's not how I would have handled the problem.
Right, right. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing you right. Trunk slammers provide good provide products at low prices, but don't necessarily provide you the service that comes with a manufacturer like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I could be not talking everybody's the same here, but just example I've seen out there in the industry, we call them lumen skimpers over here. You'll go to, you'll see a job, you'll quote it with our distribution partner. And, for example, we're quoting this parking lot, probably 35, 40 ish heads out there to do. We went in there with our distributor at 150 watt. We drive past it. I pass this place every day, twice a day on the way into the office. It's right off the highway. And I look up there one day, I'm like, huh, those aren't those. They changed the fixtures and we didn't get the job. Well, I go up there, I drive in, I look up, it's a 70 watt fixture, not 150 watts. So, there they went with a different wattage approach that you see that more often than not with a lot of high bay jobs too, where they go in and it's, they're looking at the rebate is so great because we're saving 400 down to 90 watts. And, but they're not getting the foot candles that are required, which we follow IES recommended foot candle levels and customer feedback on what they want to deliver and what they are, and not just making someone feel great that they got an LED upgrade. Because more often than not, they're going to be not happy with the performance of what they were told to by these quote unquote trunk slammer guys.
I mean, it seems like that's really tough to sort of police too, because over the last decade, hasn't the conversation been like, oh, you don't need as much power to get that much light, right? And so you can see these, I can definitely imagine this scenario where folks come in and they're like, yeah, oh, he quoted you 100 watt, man, that product must be garbage, or he's probably trying to offload some old stuff. I got we can get the job done with the 70 watt product because we're better or whatever. And as much as we try and push, I mean, this is actually why the utilities are pushing the labeling and part of the value. I'm supposed to be the industry guy, but I'm crossing over. I'm crossing over into the utility side. This is actually part of the value of the DLC thing, because at least there is some modicum of transparency and common denominator to highlight like the efficacy of the product. But it definitely sounds like, I mean, it's definitely the case that the customer making the business, the decision maker, if you will, they're not always seeing all that information. Uh, so I got a question for you, Devin. I want to hit you with, what do you think is the role of the utility in all this? Like right now, utilities, they're the ones. This actually came from. I got to give a shout out to friend of the show, Ryan Kruger. I hope I'm saying your name right, Ryan, because I'm saying it like Freddy Krueger. So, that would be terrible if I'm getting it wrong. But shout out to Ryan up in the MSP area. He actually wrote in listening to the last show, and he was like, if utilities weren't so agnostic, right? They always play the like, oh, we can't get involved, even though they got the money and the purse strings. If they could be more selective, maybe like that would be the best mechanism to knock folks like this out. So what are your ideas? Like, do you have a sort of trusted or premier utility partner approach that you're able to take? Does that exist where you are? Or how do you think utilities should maybe be more of like, a hammer and less of a, oh, we got to treat everybody equal?
Um, I mean, there's plenty. Everybody's got their own energy company. Like Mission's got a handful in Grand Rapids. I think there's like 4 or 6 to choose from. So, like here in Chicagoland, ComEd's the biggest one here, and that's who gives all the rebates locally. They started sending more people out in the field, and that's what I call, we got the double dippers. So you got lumen skimpers, and now you got double dippers. These double dippers are the guys going in there. They got 44 fixtures. They'll write on the paperwork they got 88. So that way they get more money back, and then they can claim that they're giving the product to the end user for free, which they don't allow. ComEd only allows up to 70% of the rebate to get paid back anyways. So if someone says free, there's a hook somewhere, and someone's getting jammed over there. And in that case, it'd be other people trying to get rebate incentive money because everybody pays for it on their ComEd bill. Homeowners don't barely pay anything, but it adds up with all their people. So these guys got $300 million to give out here in ComEd pretty much every year for the last couple of years. So, yeah, I think it's more ComEd policing and going out there and looking at the actual jobs, either hiring third-party people or, I don't know. They're catching on. They're sending more people out to do these little spot checks to go in there. I was on one, and I actually miscounted 2 fixtures, and they gave me 2 more fixtures worth. So I was actually underselling myself to ComEd doing the paperwork for the customer. So it's good things when they come out there or not, but there's so many jobs going on. You got to help these guys route their plans and help them plan out how to do it. But that's what I see. You got to have more due diligence on the checking for
Yeah,
these
okay.
double
An
dippers out there.
argument, and for our listeners, maybe Juan Carlos and I a couple shows back did that show on. We talked about, what was it? It was like a crime and justice, our Law and Order episode. Remember, it was the
Right, yeah,
evaluation one. So
yep,
for our listeners, this is maybe a good point of distinction. Evaluation is when that utility is following up after the fact, like big picture after the fact. How good did the program perform in the last 3 years? And what Devin was just talking about, that's project oversight. That's like pretty right after, sometimes, oftentimes before you get the incentive for a lot of utilities. And so, interesting. I want to know more of your opinions on policing, not just the utility policing, but like, you guys are a family business. You came up in this industry. What's your approach and thoughts? Like, how do you sort of self police the industry. And this is, I want to kind of play too. Don't we always hear, oftentimes, often from ideologues, the market will correct itself, right? What's kind of your role when you see things happening that you're like, that's janky? Like, can you triangulate bad actors in the market, or how does that come onto your radar if it's not what you just described, where you saw that project that you lost and you followed up?
Great question. The we see it across. Distributors will say, "Hey, we're up against this guy at," and it ends up being some .com company that has their quote unquote own product line that now they're a manufacturer just because they spent some money with UL to now multiple list other products with that they're just buying from China and selling direct and cutting out the distributor. So I mean, you've got them. How are they going to handle warranty claims? How long have they been in business? I mean, you kind of see that stuff. It's what I do up here. When I get a new customer or someone approaching me, I'm going to check them out. You go to the Secretary of State. I mean, start with simple things. Do they have a phone number on their website, an actual physical address? I mean, a lot of people with that, I said, no, I'm not going to do business with you or whatever. I'm not going to contact you back because you don't have any information here and you're going to sort of run away when the next problem comes up and start up your own new company, which is actually legal, by the way, because I talked to an FBI agent I used to work out with. And I'm like, so this guy ran up his bills on purpose, didn't pay any of his vendors, shuts down his business, and then pops one up under the same address at the guy's house. He goes, yeah, you can't really do anything about it. I was like, well, that's bullshit. But people are going to find ways around whatever obstacles you put up in there. I mean, that's what people do, is they like to think their own little puzzle and way around the trap to provide themselves with more value. When in
Sure,
actuality,
sure.
when you go out and help people and try to go, that's how you get it. But finding misuse of DLC labels. If I'm going head to head some guy and they say their fixture is 160 lumens per watt, when I know that that's what the chip level is that they're using and their actual output's probably more like 105 lumens per watt delivered. Yeah, I'm going to go and probably send DLC a message saying this guy is, mispromoting his product out there. And I think end users should realize what they're actually going to get and go through. So little things like
Yep.
this kind of help. We pay a lot of money to UL, ETL, DLC, whatever organizations out there to make sure we have the proper safety standard and protocols and then performance criteria matched up with DLC. So we spend thousands of dollars with these companies. You want to protect your investment along with every one of my partners out there in the lighting world, all these other OEMs doing what we're doing over here. They're all paying, we're all in this together. There's enough lighting to go around for everybody. And in the end, you just want to make sure people have the right product for the job.
And aren't
Right.
giving the whole industry a bad name.
Yeah, like the horse barn we went and redid. Lady said, "Oh, I got these old light fixtures in for free and we're having problems." Literally, this is what I'm thinking is they took this one contractor or whatever, this trunk slammer, takes these fixtures from a job he just did, 2x4 fluorescent troffers, just regular pattern 12 lenses. They zip them up to the ceiling of the horse barn. They've got water leaking in them, everything. I mean, these fixtures were all over. The lady's like, "We didn't have to pay anything last time." I said, well, you're going to have to pay some this time because you're going to have to buy the right fixtures, but we're going to help you out and get all the ComEd rebate money to make sure everything's on the up and up. Well, after, working with the contractors, I physically dropping off everything. And they were so happy after they had the proper fixtures for the right job and everything was done properly.
Yeah, yeah, and that is a perfect story for what we're trying to talk about here. And I love those two terms you're using: the lumen skimper, the double dipper. I may use those moving forward. Those are
We got to
Feel
great.
bring those
free.
to the West Coast.
Yeah, we will. We will. Hey, Devin, we're running up on time. I want to thank you. I'm sure there's a ton more we could talk about, and definitely will talk about in the future. But appreciate you coming on to talk a little bit about trunk slammers, what we can do. One last question for you before we go off. Generally, are you satisfied with utility programs, or what do they? Well, I'll leave it there. Are you satisfied with utility programs?
I think they're doing the right thing to help incentivize people. What I would like to see them do is incentivize made in USA products more heavily to help promotion with Made in USA. We got my brother and I got 10% additional bonus for Made in Illinois product with ComEd, and we're like, guys, 10% really doesn't swing the needle versus these import fixtures from overseas. It costs more money to make stuff here in America using metal and other components based here. So that's one thing I definitely want to see utility companies think about and promote Made in USA business and provide additional incentives and bonuses on top of that.
I love that. I think that makes a lot of sense. John, any last things before we cut out for today?
No, this was really awesome. Devin, you talking about the would-be trunk slammer out there, kind of like hustling just as hard, but hustling backwards in a lot of ways. It reminds me of that, like, you always see like some of these porch pirates, like, why aren't you just delivering packages for Amazon if you're working that damn hard? Like, you see people working so hard to break the rules sometimes, and it's like, dude, you're working harder than I am at my desk job here. Get on the right side of the law. So anyway, hey, thanks for joining us, man. This is awesome. And I think if we're ready to wrap it up, then let's remind folks to head over to tcpi.com, visit our friends at TCP, the craziest people in lighting. They got all sorts of stuff, mad crazy deals, and they know all about rebates. So check them out. Devin, thank you. Juan Carlos, thank you. This is fun.